number 2014-09, held August 14, 2014. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve public hearing meeting minutes of ordinance number 2014-09, held on 8/14.
All right, we have a motion of which to return to adopt public hearing meeting minutes ordinance number 2014-09, held on August 14, 2014. Do we have a second? We have a second by Ryan. Any other discussion? All in favor? Anybody opposed? Public hearing meeting minutes concerning ordinance number 2014-09 held on August 14, 2014, passed 5-0. And regular meeting minutes, if we could have a motion to adopt these, held on August 14, 2014.
I make a motion that we approve the regular meeting minutes held August 14, 2014 as presented.
Okay, and we conclude with Butch has made a motion to approve the meeting minutes, regular meeting minutes held on the August 14, 2014 meeting. Do we have a second? We have a second by Brian. Any discussion? All in favor? Anybody opposed? And the meeting minutes from August 14, 2014 passed 5-0. Next, we have guest speakers, invite a guest. And Ronnie, if you would go ahead and introduce our guest.
Tonight we have Mr. Scott Boone with us, who is Kent County's IT specialist, and he's here to talk to you tonight about a proposal or a project that he would like to take a minute and explain to you. Scott?
So what I'm here to talk about is resource sharing in order to expand well-being throughout the county. We've been here, we've talked about this once before. We've met in the task force since then, and we've made a lot of strides in that direction. And I've brought up a number of things here I can share with you if you'd like to see. But what we're trying to do is to pick some low-hanging fruit, some success stories like we talked about in the task force, okay, where there's a lot of collaboration between municipalities, county, state, that kind of thing. There was a presidential executive order, 13616, which is for the basically make the implementation of broadband expansion much easier. They highly recommend, and I have a copy of it, let's see, but they highly recommend a bartering type system, where you might be able to trade conduit for fibers, or fibers for fibers in different areas, that kind of thing. Structures of pipe, things like that. But basically, they target right of ways, okay? And they're going to cut the paperwork out, try and get it done as quickly as possible. So what we're here to propose is we actually have a community who's come up with a pretty ingenious plan, working with the county, and now we're approaching you as the next link in this chain to extend broadband out to a rural road area, kind of off the beaten path. And what we've done up to this point is we've identified an area that's a county resource. We've used many different departments within the county. Basically all of our supplies have been of zero cost at this point. By having them identify this location, they also found for me one of my elusive missing water and wastewater stations. I couldn't find it behind all the bushes and trees and whatnot, right? So what we decided to do is we were going to erect this pole, and on this pole we would be able to connect county water and wastewater stations back to the SCADA network, right, which ultimately puts back levels to whatever it is. So once we have something up, the county's goal is when we have a resource, we have a water tower, we have a pole, we have anything, right? We want to turn it over, okay? We have done it for many years at zero cost. The desire is to get broadband access to the community as quickly and cheaply as possible, and to enable providers to do that as cheaply as possible, okay? So in this particular case, we have a vendor representing the bridge that we would create between Rock Hall and Little Neck, okay? So we have to connect the dots back, okay? And one of the ways we're going to connect the dots is to use one of your water towers, okay? The county would like to be able to transmit water and wastewater traffic back, as well as having vendors transmit data back, broadband transmission back and forth, okay? So that's what we're here to talk to you about, is to gain permission for the county and for other providers to have access to the water towers, to be able to extend broadband throughout the county, okay? We come bearing gifts, okay? You have fiber on your file cabinet over here, right? Okay, do you have anybody linking up? we have money in our budget, we put it in the budget this year, it was approved, for the municipalities, we can do it for you. I already have a plan in place, I can show you, it will cost you nothing. So you'll have access to, it'll be a shared 300 meg internet service, okay? We'll turn it up for you, and there'll be a cord in there, and I'll say, here's the internet, okay? So we will do that for you, and we'll do that for us. The fire company is also on the fiber bill as well. There's fiber into the firehouse. They are also included in our budget, as well as we could facilitate the police department and the library. In fact, we already traffic for the library's voice and data, their internet access at least, through county resources in downtown Chestertown. But you guys haven't had that luxury until they actually bring the fiber out here on the beat. So we will have both the Board of Ed, the elementary school, the firehouse, and yourselves. We can light you up. We just want space on towers to put up things that are about this big.
Now, do you have towers, or do you have that equipment on the tower in the Evansville community?
Not yet, but it's on our hit list. Okay, we're as far as Fair League, but we have to work with Hartwell Engineering, who actually does the SCADA system monitoring, to have that switch. There's a cost involved having them switch their equipment. But the reason that's a real hit list for us is because we want to be able to go from Fair League to Evansville and also yourselves here at Hartwell.
So,
Scott, you're gonna start at Sharptown, right? I mean, the county's equipment will be located at Sharptown.
That is where the main pop is for the BTOP build, okay, the big state fiber build, okay, that's where they're housed, right there in one of those little huts underneath the Sharptown Tower. All fiber. From there, it's split out, okay, and spliced according to our plan, but then it goes to all the different buildings, okay? I think there's 48, I can't remember if it's 48 or 96 count fiber that comes from Chestertown, actually State Highway Administration, all the way to that tower. It also is part of the 700 megahertz project.
so I mean, just hearing you out, the purpose of utilizing our towers, is it to in turn port it to a bartering program so that we have the, to be able to light up the fiber here? Or is that to in turn interact with your wastewater service and the outside of the area?
Okay, so that's gonna be a bouncing thing for us, okay? We're just gonna basically hit it and then move on, okay? That's kind of good. The chemistry at play here is we can offer you something in exchange, you know, we'll trade you internet service if you'll give us access to the towers for ourselves and the vendors, okay? And if we could follow the same model that the county's following right now, which is zero cost. Okay.
And you'll be sending it from their tower to Little Neck, right?
Correct. Well, it'll be, yeah, from your tower to Little Neck, correct. And the reason, and probably the best thing here, you know, it plays into something else. Can you hear this? Grab inside. We're looking for some success stories. So what we did, we had our GIS folks draw this up for us. We've identified the 911 addresses of all of our students. We're working on private school students as well, you know, to see where they're all located. We've mapped out all small businesses, medium businesses, business from the 100, okay, so you can see these areas of concentration. Certainly Rock Hall would be one. I mean, Colortown's a very interesting one out there, you know, working. So this one project is part of a very large project that we're trying to implement in the county, which is really in essence as simple as it sounds, connecting the dots. Okay? I have another map that's digital. I can't share it right now, but based on census data, the feds have already come in and identified underserved communities. So we're incorporating that onto this map as well. So this is one step in a very, very large plan, but it's also a great example to take elsewhere in the county. Okay, we're only as strong as our weakest link, you know, and we've got kids out there that, you know, you're going to digital textbooks right now. Okay, well, there's an equal opportunity to play here because you have what you know I would say would be privileged youth versus unprivileged when it comes to broadband access, okay? So how can they have an equal learning experience? They can't, okay? If you have to drive in, like, you know, if you want to go by a library, you know, in downtown Chestertown on a Sunday, and see a parent sitting there with their child, okay, in their car because they have no access to broadband, and they're sitting there with the car running in January so that they families do their homework, that's wrong. It's wrong. So I think, we need to drop barriers, start working together, and, barter if we can. So that's where we are. We'll get something new, we'll get something else.
Yeah. Well, look, I think that, I think it's always advantageous to both government entities to be able to continue and forge relationships. And I think that along that path, certainly having the ability to have that understanding of what really exists between the two is equally as important to doing so. And I think that, I see out here often, we do have the very same thing. I see people sitting in the parking lot, and whether or not, I can't tell if children are in the vehicle, but people are there, you know what they're here for. They're tapping into our internet. And, I think that we are a county that certainly it does have its fair level of statistics to show that there's high levels of poverty. And I think that no child should be going left behind. And if there's ways that we can in turn improve and bring everybody together as we go forward, Scott, I think it's a concept that certainly is what we're here to do to begin with, which is we're here for the people.
Absolutely.
So I think, this certainly has, from what I'm understanding, I can't see where even if you weren't giving the town something in exchange, I think that if you're in turn providing something for the underprivileged or even just people in general, I think if we can move out to that, shall I say, I think that's a good thing.
We can have, by bringing in more competition, there isn't nothing wrong with bringing more competition. Okay?
We certainly hope so, because
Yeah,
it's a
we
good
need it, right?
thing.
Okay, so, I can use Comcast as an example, they're not in your area, but they actually have a $9.99 a month plan for, it's means-based, okay? So there are families that live in areas that do have access to broadband, but they can't afford it, okay? As part of the county's plan, by bringing in some of these WISP, wireless internet service providers, we are going to emphasize that we expect, if you have access to our towers and our facilities, we're going to want to see that kind of plan in place. Out there in Butlertown, we do have quite a few of the free reduced meal type students out that way, okay? We have a basically bare water tower that I'm using, actually, I'm bouncing stuff all over, right? We'll give it away, okay? But we want to see one of those $9.99, a month plans, so that the people who can't afford, what's in their front yard right now will be able to.
It's just, when you said, I spoke about the executive order, I can't remember the number, but I assume there's been some subsidy then that will be part of the.
Yeah, right now, unfortunately, I don't know if we're gonna qualify for it. There's $100 million, sounds big, right, but there's 50 states, so we'll give you that up real quick.
Right.
There's $100 million FCC grant out there, but it's really geared more towards telecommunication companies because they want you to pass voice over IP traffic, phone traffic, that kind of thing. We're looking into it. There's also, Community Connect grants, USDA has a lot of stuff. We got a guy working on that right now. But this is front burner for us.
How do you, I guess, maintain that price that is for the folks that are at a disadvantage, but yet I guess you would say that you don't want to compete with the private sector, but really, we don't have that type of competition here because it's just that.
Not yet.
Well, and I
That's the
hope to
goal.
see that, I guess, grow.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's the goal, I certainly see that. So how do you keep the prices flat, or to a degree, within a household budget of the
We
people?
would hope the free market would do that in and of itself in the full price plans, okay? But as far as those means-based plans, that's just something we're gonna have to negotiate based on location. We're not gonna say, go into a location where the only people you can serve is $9.99 a month. But there's gonna be some sort of a ratio, I think, will work out, where they'll be able to bring businesses on, regular plan subscribers, that kind of thing, that would offset their costs.
Yeah, I would think that not just people that don't have the resources, I think people that do have the resources, they would more necessarily take advantage of the same package, because it should be fair across the table.
Right, so I don't know that I can answer the specifics of that, I think in our mind that it would be means-based, and there would have to be a certain, because you're not gonna get a lot of providers that are coming and give away $9.99 for everybody. It's just not gonna happen, okay? There's also what you're gonna be able to get for the money you're paying. Now, in those particular plans, like Comcast, for example, they'll go 20 meg, 50 meg, on and up, but that particular plan would be 5 down, 1 up. Okay, so it's substantially less, but it's more than enough to get on and access your digital textbooks, to discover media server, all those things you guys can roll out, okay?
When you say 5 down, 1 up, and you.
5 meg down, 1 up.
Okay.
So, that happens. I think the new federal standard now is 4 and 1, so it actually meets that minimum requirement.
Okay, okay.
But
I mean, we are fortunate to have, outside of what is the age system of the DSL, we do have Atlantic broadband in town, and they usually pump out around 30, or they can pump up, I guess, as I understand, up to 30 megs.
But you do have surrounding areas, okay, so, and this is where, you know, your help within the town's boundaries will help those folks living just outside as well, when you have those wireless shots, okay? A big thing is getting fiber to your tower, you know, I mean, right now, a lot of your wireless ISPs, they're shooting wirelessly, you know, from a great distance over there, and then they're disseminating that beyond the tower, okay? So they're experiencing degradation along the way, but when you get that fiber there, it's true from point A to point B, so they have more to give away.
So the systems that you're looking to hook up, that I guess being another department within the county, they're wireless. They're readings of their meters now.
We are our own ISP, in essence, right? I mean, you know, granted, we get internet service from, you know, wherever the server farms in California and Northern Virginia, wherever it may be. But the county IT department, we already built our own, not only fiber network, which the Fed just kind of came and built right on top of. And then we built our own wireless network as well, to the point where I can go on VoIP call, voice over IP call, a phone call. At one of our offices, we test this pretty regularly, and I can just unplug the fiber and my phone call doesn't drop. It just starts going over the radio and back, so there's a lot of redundancy with it. And not only in that way, but whatever it's talking to, if that link from that one goes down, it has another way. So we had these, I mean, pretty soon birds are gonna be dropping out of the sky.
So you could pick up then, again, if I'm understanding what you're saying, you guys would wanted to help with the other departments and that being able to, the ability to read the meters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So everybody wins. You know, when we do these kind of projects, everybody gets a little bit of something. You know, we basically supply our labor time, you know, what we're paid to do. And in this particular case, we were even able to source a pole for free. You know, that's why I love about Kent County. We actually had a county worker that has utility poles in his backyard. He gave one up, so.
Well, certainly if we can help with the internet and the wastewater department, we will do that. I mean, that's again something that we'll try to do. At least that's my thought. I can't, you know, I certainly would like to hear from the board, but, you know, again, I think it's important again to forge the relationships and moving forward.
Excellent, okay.
How's the board feel?
It's a no-brainer if we're gonna get free fiber here at the firehouse, and I know the firehouse has been anxious to get on, so I'm in favor of this.
Can you talk a little more about this internet service, because how does it compare to what we already have, you know, probably, I assume, but also like, if something were to happen to it, you know, who fixes it? Like, who's actually like
What's coming in this-
responsible for, technically responsible?
What's coming in this building?
What you're offering tonight?
Oh, now it would be to this building, okay, so it's not to houses, I
Right.
can't do that yet, okay?
Okay.
So we actually utilize something called SolarWinds, okay, and we're gonna put into place, they'll all be NetFlow compliant, okay? What that means is it tells us to the millisecond exactly what's going on, you know, we can see, you know, what's doing what, you know, if there's a failure, if there's a throttling effect going on, we'll know right away, okay? So we'll also know exactly where it's broken. Now, the fiber itself is under Network Maryland, which is the state organization. Think of it as this way, you know the little box you have in your house, the little nid, the D-mark there with Verizon, you plug into one side, they go to the other, right? They're on that side, okay, and we're on the other side. Okay, we're handling what's going on in here. Now, if the fiber's dug up out in the street or someone whacks a pole or something like that, we gotta call Network Maryland, they bring people in, okay? But this is step one, because, you know, we're tower certified, you know, we're AirMax certified. You know, this could grow to the point where we can start hooking you up wirelessly, just like we do ourselves. And then if your fiber goes down, we still have a redundant path back over to the tower.
Okay,
It
well,
won't
that's
happen
if
tomorrow.
the fiber has a problem. I guess I just wanted to make sure, because like, obviously the town staff is not gonna depend on this service. Like, suppose the internet is not working, who do they call?
If the internet's working, we should all go to the Appalachians, because the internet's gonna be up and running, but it's our access to it that would be a problem.
Okay, so they have to pay separately for the internet service? You're just on the wire side of things, not on the,
No, the internet service would be free.
Yeah, I have a question.
yeah, I'm just, it's a
Sorry.
little confusing.
I have a couple questions. The dish you showed us, how many of those would be on a tower?
What would depend on the number of players, okay? So, you know, it could be something like that, and it could also be something as small as that you won't even be able to see it because the railing is about the same size.
What's the downside of having those on your tower?
There is none. I've got them all over the place.
Okay?
We put them up, we put ours up about
Upside
4
or
years
something.
ago, and we've never had one blow off, or, I mean,
Okay.
I've gone up top and tried to wrench them to get them to move them all.
Okay, and my second question is probably something you're not gonna be able to answer.